Hey, what is going on, everybody? You already know it's usually Monday night. Tonight's Thursday night. It's 8:30. It's Inside the Octagon. My name is Paul Spencer, and of course, I'm with my main man.
Josh, Showtime was good with everybody. We normally do this on Mondays, but it's my fault. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, no good. No worries.
Had a lot of stuff happening, man. What's been
Yes,
going
we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that, Josh. Definitely. What are we going to talk about tonight, Josh? You know what? Where do you want to start tonight, Josh?
I mean, we've missed a couple weeks, man. There's a lot that's happened. We have obviously Robert Whittaker, who just fought and completely decimated his competition, and then you even have Cannonier, who fought 2 weeks ago in a very, very entertaining but also controversial fight, and then Perez versus Tierra, which was kind of a awkward ending. So there's a lot that we missed out on.
Definitely. And also, Josh, we got to talk about UFC 303, what could have been, should have been, and what we have left on the UFC 303 here, and also predictions coming up. So everybody out there, get your popcorn ready. We'll be back in 1 minute to get this show started with Paul and Josh. So now's your time to get that popcorn, get your cans on the keyboard, and get ready for us. We'll be back in 1 minute to start the show. Boys and girls, I hope you have your popcorn ready, hands on the keyboard to ask the questions, give it predictions, give us your thoughts. Josh, you're right. It's been a couple weeks here. Don't worry about us not doing it the last week. I think, there was more important news in the world out there that happened. I believe it was this week. I think it was Monday we had this big fiasco. It's a gender reveal, if I'm correct.
Yes, man. For people who may not know, I am expecting in a couple months. And, I went back home to where I'm from in Maryland, and me and my wife, we had the gender reveal, and I found out that I'm having a baby girl. So team girl dad, very excited about that. Funny note, one of my friends messaged me and was like, "Oh man, you about to have a little Amanda Nunes on your I was like, no, I don't know if I want my daughter fighting, but she'll learn how to for sure. She's gonna have them hands on her."
Hey, nothing wrong with that, Josh. I love a woman that can protect herself, especially being a daddy's girl. I'm blessed with 2 boys, so it's a little bit different for me. But man, from my heart to yours, man, congratulations, you and your lovely wife there. Congratulations, man. I'm really happy for you, definitely.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. I'm super excited, and I can't wait. Definitely not looking forward to the sleepless nights and change the diapers, but definitely looking forward to my little JR.
Definitely, I hear that. I appreciate it. Any names come up already, Josh, or no?
Yes, we do have a name. It's gonna be Joy.
Joy, I love that. There you go. Joy Showtime. I like that.
Yeah. When it's bougie, it's gonna be Joie.
Joie. Oh, there we go. And hopefully we have a future podcaster in our hands to, come on the show later in the, 10 years from now to hop on there because, I know she's going to be sitting there, next to you when we're watching UFC.
All the fights. We watch.
You know that. Well, Josh, you know what? Hey, we missed a couple weeks. How about we talk about what fight do you want to talk about? You mentioned that Robert Whittaker fight. Josh, did you think it was going to be that fast, 1 minute and 49 seconds?
Man, here's the thing, man. The biggest story isn't even the fight. If you want to be completely honest about it, the biggest story is unfortunately the fight that should have happened, which is the Chimaev fight. That's the fight we all wanted. That's the fight we expected. There's so much riding on that fight, so much stuff we wanted. And now we just got question marks. Yes, Robert Whittaker did what he needed to do, that he did what we expected him to do. In reality, his opponent is not virtually unknown. We know this guy. He's been in the UFC before, but relatively he's never fought nobody to the skill level of Robert. And Robert is such a technical and tricky guy on the feet. It's not too surprising. And it's good that we finally get a finish from Rob. And we see Bobby Knuckles in pure form, the guy that we fell in love with when we genuinely first started watching this guy, coming from tough, and then seeing him rise through the ranks, going through 170 to 185. So it was a beautiful performance, but in reality, the biggest story is he didn't fight Chimaev. And Chimaev, we don't know if we're ever going to see him again.
You know what? I mean, Josh, as fans, we look into it like, this is all about cancellations this week, last week, coming up this week. So it's all cancellation. That's keyword cancellation. But, I read into it as a fan. I'm sitting there like, oh, Chimaev's out of the fight. What's going on here? What is going on? Then I heard he was deathly ill. Have you heard anything about that? I mean, how's it progressed? Have you heard anything about that yet?
Yeah, man, it's weird because they say that, but then also heard that it was mainly food poisoning, that it was a really bad case of food poisoning. And here's the thing, like, that's very scary because I mean that we don't know is 100% a fact, but this is not the first instant where we heard about him having a really bad illness. And this is coming from a person that also I have a low white blood cell count, so that means that I get sick easily. So when I get sick, like a normal common cold hits me worse than it does a normal person.
Gotcha.
So I'll be out longer. I'll be out for probably like a week and a half. Some people be healed in 5 days. And he might have this same kind of condition where he just unfortunately has low cell counts where when he gets sick, it makes it bad. When he caught COVID, he retired.
Yeah.
Don't forget that. He was really bad. It affected him crazy. Granted, I caught COVID too, like most people. It didn't hit me.
I got it twice.
Yeah, it didn't hit me nowhere near as bad as it hit him. But yet, still, like, it clearly shows that he has an immune system issue, and this is something that is more serious and more important than any injury you could possibly have. So it's very scary. It sucks, and it's starting to become a could have been when you talk about Chimaev rather than what he is, because now we're in his prime, and we should have seen him in the title contentions already, but we're still here. We still don't know how good he is or he could have been.
Exactly. I agree with everything you said there. Going through that food poisoning thing. At first I thought about it and I was like, oh, come on, man. Food poison, you're an athlete. And just like you said with the low blood cell, the count, white cell count, it does affect people differently. And then I read somewhere, I don't know where I've seen it at, but somebody, really set me straight on it. He's like, you don't understand. If he would have been okay like a day later or whatever, not before he pulled out of the fight, that weight cut too can mess with you too. I mean, with that poisoning and the illness that he had, that could be something tremendous where it could be basically life-threatening in the ring, where your cardio, I don't want to say cardio, but your fluid level, your body is not where it should be. And you know what? You're right. I hate saying this. What is Chimaev? When are we going to see him? What's next? Does this build so much more for the Whittaker now, of Whittaker coming out and handling business versus Islam? Does it make this fight now everybody wants to see Chimaev versus a Whittaker after what Whittaker done in 1 minute 49 seconds, Josh?
The thing is, man, like, it does nothing for Whittaker, unfortunately. And
yes.
It's hard for me to say this, but it doesn't move the needle for me. Like, yes, he was a great performance, but we have to look at a last minute replacement that's not even in the top 6, 7 rankings. So realistically, you're at the same point. And if Chimaev doesn't retire and he decides he wants to fight again, in reality, the next move is to rebook this fight. You have to. This is the fight we need to see. Robert Whittaker, in my opinion, is still far away from a title shot. Personally, don't care to ever see him in a title shot as long as Izzy has the belt, as long as DDP has the belt. I don't necessarily care to see him. Maybe if Sean Strickland somehow gets the belt, then I'm cool with him getting the title shot. But with those two guys, not interested. Already seen see him fight Izzy twice, Borefest, and he got knocked out. DDP completely whooped him. It's just like, how many title shots have we seen him now lose? And I'm just not. And like I said, it has to be something, a dominant performance against a worthy opponent. And that wasn't this. And I don't want to keep disrespecting because I don't want to make it seem like the guy's not good. It's just that he's not an elite fighter, at least not right now. And I think Chimaev still has a way to go to prove himself. And in reality, the only 2 fights left for Chimaev, in my opinion, that I care to see is a Whitaker, Cannonier, or Sean Strickland. Those are the only 3 guys I want to see Chimaev fight.
I agree with you. You know, a lot of people out there said, you know, well, you got to beat who's in front of you. I get that. But just like you said, John, keyword unranked here. Islam comes in here. He's a replacement. 3 days before the fight, he's a step-in guy. You know, I understand, you know, you're just like when we talked about Strickland a couple of weeks ago. I love his fighting style. It's kind of different for you. But when I look at that, okay, you beat who's in front of you, but you had really everything to lose in this fight. If you lost, oh my God, you're out of the top 10, way down further, you know. But if you win, what does it really do for you? Okay, you beat a replacement fighter here. You really didn't set my eyes straight and say, wow, that was dominant. Even though it's a minute 49 seconds, Josh, it wasn't dominant to me because there was no, okay, you know, I want to say battering back and forth of style versus style. It was just, you know what, throw hands, get it done, go in, best man fight, 1 punch, get it over with. It didn't really, like you said, I'm not going to take anything from Whitaker. He did his business. He did what he had to do. But, Josh, it doesn't move the needle for me either. It really don't.
Yeah, not at all. And, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it sucks for Whitaker personally. It definitely sucks for Chimaev. And as fans, it sucks. I mean, we'll probably talk about this in a little bit, but the UFC has had some amazing years.
Yes.
Some really all-time years, especially during the COVID time. They really were killing it in the sporting department. And it's unfortunate to say, man, but they have hit it seems like a bit of a hole or a wall this past year and a half, to the point where I'm always going to love fights. I'm always going to love MMA, no matter if it's UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, doesn't matter. But I'm just not as intrigued as I used to be. And it's just unfortunate with cancellations like this and oversaturation of events. And the fact that boxing is at an all-time high right now. It's just so much right now that's like, you know, honestly hurting, in my opinion, the UFC.
I agree with you 100%. You know, even with like UFC 300, it's, you know, one of those century events that we get there, the big 100 number, 300. You know, going from there, I'm thinking like, okay, moving forward, this should be one hell of a year for the UFC. I mean, we're getting new fighters, you know, Toughen Up's in season 28 here. We should see all these fighters coming in. It's a new regime. But Josh, that key word cancellation, man, that takes away a lot for me when you book a fight, the presser comes in. What better way to have McGregor finally back, you know, Chandler. And then all of a sudden it's, well, he didn't show up to his presser here. What is going on? Well, it's a lesser card. Then UFC 93, as we're talking about, that gets basically almost canceled. The top fight gets canceled. We're filling in guys here, filling in guys there. Josh, I think it should be called UFC fill-in, you know, from now on. Honestly, that's the way I feel. But I'm always going to be an MMA fan. You know that. But so are you. It's just insane how this is falling apart right now. And just like you said, boxing, man, boxing is where it's at right now, I tell you.
It is. And, you know, and boxing has the advantage of like not having a lot of pullouts because boxing is obviously less risk because you don't have elbows, you don't have knees, you're not grappling. You know, there's a lot less ways for you to get hurt and injured and cut. Obviously, MMA have so many greater ways, even though we did lose the Tszyu fight, which really was, you know, I was really looking forward to that fight. I thought it was going to be crazy. But, you know, that injury was also crazy as well. But yeah, and still, you know, it does suck that we're getting all these cancellations to big fights. And even with UFC 303, you know, it was a really good fight. I mean, it was a really good card. Obviously, with Conor McGregor was cool, a little top heavy. But the thing is, even with the replacements, you could argue the card was better. Like, it was actually a good card that they replaced it with. It just didn't have the pop because Conor was out.
Exactly.
I can deal with. I'm not tripping. Like, we don't know how good Conor is realistically. We saw him at the club 2 weeks ago. I don't know. But I do know the fights that they booked were interesting. It was fun. I just now with more injuries to it, like the Anthony Smith, like comes in, steps in. Then next thing you know, Carlos is hurt. Next thing you know, Jamal's hurt. Then it's like, okay, everybody that's in 205 is injured. Just scrap it. Take Anthony Smith off the card. But he wants to fight now, so we're adding somebody to fight him. It's just
crazy.
And that's the co-main. That was supposed to be the co-main that now is no longer the co-main.
Well, we
So
don't have a main event. We don't have a co-main event. So we had villains on both sides of there. It's insane. But
yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just saying it's insane when you have your main event. McGregor. That name. I understand what you're saying there. McGregor. We don't know what he is. He's been out. He was at the club 2 weeks ago, popping shots on ladies and everything. Whatever he has to do on the yacht down in Monaco, down Miami. But you're right. I don't know what he's going to be, but that name pop was there. I wanted to see how he came, either regardless if he gets knocked out or he does what he has to do. That's fine. But then you have the co-main event getting canceled too. And it's just like fill-ins. Like, yeah, I don't know where to go. But, Josh, is there any other fight that you've seen? I want to mention this Shaputin Margavash. I love how he had a fill-in fight too against Triaco as well. But this kid, I tell you, Josh, there's something about this kid that I love watching. I mean, he has a ground game. He has power. He's young. What do you see in him?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, but which fight are we talking about again?
Oh, Magovad, Sharputin Margavash, Magovad, what his name was. He fought Strickland. Yes, I butchered these names. I ain't gonna say I can say these names.
No, I completely get it. It's definitely like it's tongue twisters with these guys, man.
It is. Oh.
But here's the thing, man. Realistically, it's just like this with a lot of these the Dagestanians. All right. Yes. They're all very solid, very, very good. But, I'm kind of starting to see that with him, he's still got a lot of room to grow. And it's weird saying that, him being 30, but he's not let's say, he's not the Habibs or the level of dominance. Yes, he got a TKO stoppage. Yes, he's impressive. But yet and still, man, like I'm not getting the domination that I'm getting with some of these other Dagestanians. I think he's tough. I think he's solid. I think he will, be in a top 5 eventually. But I still think he got ways to go. But at the end of the day, being the skill level kickboxer that he is, and to still have the decent wrestling background, he's a very solid guy. But yet and still, he's still going against relatively unknown, unproven guys.
Were you a little bit concerned because Anthony, when he was in the fight, he actually got one round out of there to me. Honestly, I think he got one of the rounds because as a fill-in, I understand, you can't game plan for what Anthony Trickle is going to bring in there, but you're the better fighter. You've been around, of course, 30 years young. What's that?
Exactly. No, I'm saying what you need to dominate at the end of the day. Like, we want to believe in the hype. You're undefeated. You have 2 decisions and you finished everybody else. We're expecting realistic, and it could be unrealistic expectations, but who cares? Like where you're from, what your name holds, where you're from, what that holds, what your record holds. It's an expectation. If I'm seeing a Tank Davis fight, I'm expecting to see a dominant stoppage. If I'm over here, if I'm looking at Magomedov, I'm expecting a dominant stoppage. We didn't get that. And we got a fluster guy. I don't care if you don't know this guy. I don't care if you never wrestled the guy before or you never fought this guy before. He's a last-minute replacement, dominating like he's supposed to be last minute.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I mean, the way it looked the first round, like, okay, he's just coming in here to cash a check. He thinks his name alone is going to be the stoppage of the fight. It didn't work that way. It had to go 3 rounds. In the 3rd round, he did get the TKO, which was a great TKO by him. But, man, there's a word called domination. You're fighting a replacement fighter that's been put in there, regardless of style. Whitaker did his thing. You should do the same thing here. But being 30 years old, he does have a lot to learn, especially coming from that. Is he fighting under the Samba? Is he fighting under the Samba situation? The style?
I feel like all of them have fought in Samba, but I know he's. Okay. I know he fought kickboxing mainly.
Okay. Yeah, I think he has a long way to go too. I think his name is. He's still maybe 2 or 3 fights until he gets maybe a co-main event, honestly, or a championship fight. But I don't know. He has a lot to work on, Josh. He really does. Absolutely. Did you catch that Sergey Pavlovich fight? Did you check that fight out against Volkov?
So that was during the exact. So here's the thing. Also, like I watched these fights, but like that was also the time of my gender reveal. So
that's the reason why I asked you if you did. Yeah.
So did I catch it? Yes. Do I remember every single thing to be able to break it down? No, because it was a forgettable fight, to be honest with you.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that when you have 2 heavyweights out there, I tell you what, this was probably UFC is not boring in many ways, but when you're a fan of it and you watch so much of it, the word is boring to me. This fight was boring. Yeah. Boring. It really was. Where it reminded me of how we talked about Strickland is fighting a certain style. It was just basically that kind of fight. Stand in front of you, take your time, take what they give you. It was so boring to me, and I was just thinking like decision. how about we just make this a draw because I can't come up with an answer for this one. I really can't.
Yeah, I would say like there's no real notes to take about it, and there's nothing that really moves the needle about it, anyways, because the heavyweight division is not good. It's not impressive. It's not entertaining. We don't care about it, and that fight is the reason why we don't care about the heavyweight division.
Exactly. Thank you, Josh.
And yeah, there's some talent in the heavyweight division, just not a lot of it, and unfortunately, it's just one of those things where we accept it, and we just wanted to move on. But the heavyweight division is in shambles.
It is. It definitely is. Well, Josh, let's move on to 303 here. What could have been, should have been, and what we have. Let's talk about, what has been canceled. Of course, the name by Conor McGregor's back against Michael Chandler here. Well, that's not happening. Jamal here, Kyle Roundtree, not happening. Where do we start with this one here? Let's talk about what could have been, what we were supposed to get, Josh. What was your hype going into this 303 Chandler McGregor?
Realistically, the one fight that I was actually looking forward to the absolute most was Khalil Roundtree versus Jamal Hill. Like
you two? I was going to say the same thing.
That fight was going to be crazy, and I felt a little bad for Jamal because he just got knocked out.
Yeah.
And fighting a guy like Khalil Roundtree, who is the last person you want to fight, coming off a knockout loss. I don't know if you guys have not seen Khalil Roundtree. He's probably pound for pound one of the hardest punchers in the UFC. Like, he is deadly when it comes to power. And I was just looking forward to it because I felt like this was it was a perfect matchup for him. A guy who's not going to take him down because that is his weakness. His ground game is not good. And a guy who can punch as hard as anybody else in that division. I was looking forward to that. Like, so upset that he popped and they removed him off. But come to find out, even if he didn't pop, the fight was going to be canceled anyways. Yeah. But it was a perfect style match. It was a great rebound fight for Hill. It was a perfect fight for Roundtree to get his name in the picture for a title shot. He wins that fight. He was going to be next fight in Peloton. Peloton. I needed that fight to happen. So I think he's serving a year suspension now, so that takes another year out of him. I don't know how old Roundtree is about to be, but the time is ticking for this guy. And I mean, we need to we kind of got to accelerate him now. So even when he comes back from popping, we need to make sure he's fighting a top 5 guy. And I hope that he does.
Yeah, I agree the same way. That was my main event there. I love that matchup there. Hill coming off the knockout there. Just like you said with Roundtree, man, the way he is powered, I think he's one of the best stand-up guys. And the length that he would have on Jamal Hill, I think that was one of the best matches I would probably see. Unfortunately, it happened the way it did. But Josh, let's jump into this. Let's really jump into this 303 here, honestly. Let's talk about it. Well, where do you want to start? What match do you want to start? I want to go over some of the prelims. What do you think about the prelims? Are there any standout prelims matches? I have a thing. Look, I have a thing for Michelle Watterson, the karate hottie. I love this woman. I don't know what it is about her. It might be the looks, Josh, but
I want to say I know why you like her because it's the reason why most people like her. It ain't her style. I can tell you one reason why you don't like her. It's definitely not because of her fighting style. I can definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Is there any match that you think is going to stand out? What do you think? You think the Joe Pfeiffer or Cub Swanson match is going to be? I mean,
I'm definitely interested in Cub Swanson and Andre Phillips, but the thing is, it's not relevant. I'm interested in it because it should be an interesting fight. These two guys like to stand up. It can be very fun, but yet and still, there's nothing at stake. So it's not really too much to necessarily care about, I'll say. Like, I mean, the only thing, okay, I can say nothing to care about. You care about it just because it's a solid fight, but nothing to really care about as far as like, this is important. This matters. It doesn't. It really doesn't. But yet and still, I'm excited to see it. That's really good. The Joe Pfeiffer fight, I'm excited to see that too. Joe Pfeiffer is a very, very talented guy. Marc Andre is definitely another good guy that's from Canada that is very, very solid everywhere. And he's coming off of a L as well. We got to, but he lost to Chris Curtis, who's also a very solid guy. Andre Arlovski, how the hell is he still fighting? I think that's the biggest question mark. I'm just not understanding why this guy's got to be almost 50. Like, people don't understand. This man fought like in the Randy Couture era, and Randy Couture retired at 47. And
I think he was on the poster for UFC 200, Josh. Honestly, that's how old this guy is.
He's 45. I'm actually surprised he's as young as he is. I would have thought that he was 60. No joke.
Whew, wow.
He's 45 years old. I'm impressed. Guys, if you do not know, he fought. Like, he literally fought when UFC was in double digits. He fought UFC 228 in 2000. That was 24 years ago, guys. Some of you guys weren't even born.
Wow. All of our younger viewers out there, they had to Google that name when you said that name, Josh. Like, what, UFC 20? What?
Yeah,
you know?
28. Yeah,
Wait, that was in black and white back in the day, was it? Well, yeah,
yeah,
pretty much
right.
it was back in the day with UFC.
Crazy times. But yeah,
Oh
like
man. Oh.
it's ridiculous. So I mean, yeah, like the fact that he's still fighting is kind of crazy to me. I kind
Mhm.
of want him to retire because I mean, like, brother, your nose is literally close to your ear. But I mean, hey, whatever floats your boat.
Pretty much that nose is going to be touching that cauliflower pretty soon if he keeps fighting, Josh. That's how bad it is. But
Fox.
yeah, is there one standout fight, Josh, on the prelim fight that you're looking at before we get to the main card?
Realistically, the fight that I'm probably looking forward to the most
Mhm.
actually is going to be a combination. It's going to be the Joe Pfeiffer and
Okay.
the Mark Andre fight, but
Okay.
also the Michelle Watterson and Jillian Robertson. Not because of Michelle Watterson, I'm not a big fan. I actually hate
Mhm.
watching her fight with almost all my heart. She's a beautiful girl, but I
Yes.
just can't watch her fight. She's boring as hell.
Yeah.
But however, I do like Jillian Robertson, and I feel like for a person who's always up and down, wins and
Yeah.
losses and things like that, kind of want her to start going on a win streak a little bit. She got a TKO victory her last fight, and I want her to get on a roll. So I'm actually interested in watching it.
Yeah, I think Robertson wins this fight too. Watterson's style, the way she's been fighting lately, it's not there for me. It really is not. I think Robertson does win this. I can't wait to see that fight too. I really want to see that one too. Swanson is on that level too, where I want to see how he performs against Philly, of course. But I don't know. I mean, as a prelim fight, I guess it's okay to what we have here. Honestly, we have 8 fights on the prelims here, Josh. But let's talk about this main card, Josh. Let's talk about the main card here. What fight do you want to start with first?
I
Totally
mean,
up
we
to
got
you.
to start off with the first fight. To be honest with you, I'm not even gonna lie to you. If the fight that I'm most interested in on this card is the first fight.
Talk about it. Let's go.
I mean, you have Michael Venom Page versus Ian Gary, which
Yeah.
I'm not a big Ian Gary fan, but I will give him so much respect for taking this fight because he didn't need to. Realistically, this fight should have been a headliner for a England card, probably a fight night card or whatever for number one contendership, maybe for 170 or something. But like this fight is big. Like I kind of think it's getting slept on, a little underrated. I think because people still don't take MVP seriously. I think some people also don't take Ian Gary seriously for whatever reason. But both these guys are very offensive. MVP can be offensive, but yet still these guys have. Okay, I'm about to lie again. Ian Gary doesn't have the greatest knockout reel, but MVP does have a great knockout reel. And still, though, this is going to be a fun chess match. This is two tall, lanky British guys who love to stand up. There ain't going to be no takedowns. And we're going to see if Ian Gary can use that range against a guy who's just as tall, that has long arms just like him, and that's going to be more athletic than him. And that's like the dart forward. I already know what Ian Gary's going to do. He's going to chop at the legs. That's the way to beat MVP. What is MVP going to do to counteract? Is he going to do anything to counter that? Or is he going to get picked apart and he's not even going to be able to bounce on his toes? So, I mean, is this so much to this fight? And MVP, I thought he looked good his last fight. Fighting Kevin Holland, he had Kevin Holland frustrated. People were upset that it was boring, but I didn't think it was boring. Two, Kevin Holland was shook. He was getting beat up the entire fight. He couldn't do anything. And Kevin Holland is a very good fighter. He didn't look very good versus MVP. Why? Because MVP is great at what he does. And when he fights stylistically a guy who will stand up with him, they tend to not win. So, and you can sit here, point at the time he got knocked out. That was a freak knockout. It was crazy. But they fought again and he won. So you can do all this chirping about MVP, but he is the real deal. He is a very good fighter. No matter if he's showboating, he is.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that Holland fight, unanimous decision. I mean, it clearly showed what he can and what he can do when his mind's out there. It was insane. And I agree with you too. I think it's going to be a lot of leg kicks there. I think he's going to chop down the trees, basically get that. But like you said, it's going to be up to what he's going to do versus that. Is he going to stand up and just take it? And is he going to play like a Strickland side file? Just a fight like that where he's just going to back up, take what they give you. But Josh, these are kind of similar fighting styles to me. I mean, do you think it's going to go down to the ground? I mean, can one of these guys take it to the ground? I mean, I don't know.
He can take it to the ground, but I don't think he's going to. I think he's so confident in his stand-up. I don't think he thinks he needs to. Because at the end of the day, like we know MVP is not an easy guy to fight, but you know what he's going to do. He is a karate guy. That the Taekwondo guys all fight. He fights like Wonder Boy Thompson. Like at the end of the day, he's gonna be light on his feet. He's gonna do his little, dance moves. He's gonna showboat a little bit, but that's all just to get you comfortable for his darts. And the thing that throws people off, because everybody knows it's coming, but the thing that throws people off is his distance and how quick he can close distance and that range and power. That throws people off. And when it happens, they're saying, oh, shoot, how's he already hitting me? And that is what I think is going to throw Ian Gary off, especially fighting somebody that's so tall and lanky like he is. I think that's also going to play a big factor. But like I said, he's going to expect that because Ian is a smart fighter. He knows what MVP is going to do and what he's not going to do. And that holds to Ian's advantage.
And the thing is, both these guys have gone the distance here. I mean, you look at Gary, he fought Jeff Neal, a split decision, of course. Neil Magny, he went to a decision with him. TKO versus Daniel Rodriguez, 14-0. Does he get the first loss here?
I am predicting that MVP will get the W. I think there's going to be an upset. I might have a little bit too much faith into MVP, but I just think the fact that he's going to fight somebody that's so long and rangy and that has that crazy quickness that we still saw even at that age, because MVP, believe it or not, guys, he's pretty old. All right. He's what is he? 37, 30, right on the money, 37 years old, but he's got 5 inches of reach on him. 5 inches. Actually, I might be wrong. Actually, it's 5 inches. He got 5 inches on reach on him. Ian hasn't fought nobody that's the same height, longer than him, and that's going to be quicker than him. I think that's going to throw him off, and I think he's going to knock him out. Now, if he does not knock him out, I am not comfortable enough to say that he will win, but I'm putting my money on MVP via stoppage in the first round.
Wow, you're going stoppage first round. Wow. Okay. All right. So the way it plays out, I agree with you 100%. I think MVP gets this win here, but he's going to have to do it early. I don't think he can maintain it over 3 rounds to get the decision, Josh. I don't think he can do it. It's definitely not going to be unanimous. If he does, it's going to be either a first or second round knockout. That's the way I see it there. But if it goes to distance, I think it's going to be a split decision to Gary, most likely. I was going to
say, I can see going to the decision and it being a split decision to either guy too, just because I want to also tell people this fight might be boring.
Yeah.
So like, be prepared. This fight could either be fireworks, somebody gets flash KO'd, or this fight could be a drag them out chess match that's boring and everybody hates it. Be prepared for it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I mean, I think it could be a chess match on both sides because, like you said, that 5-inch reach advantage, that's huge. People don't see it that way, but when you try to create space, the spaces already have a 5-inch advantage. That goes a long way for a fighting style, too. So I can see it both ways, like you said. I agree with you. I'm going to go MVP here. I think it's going to be – I was going to probably go to that split decision. I was thinking about it, but I might think it's going to – I'm going to take a knockout in the first 2 rounds here. I think it's going to be a knockout, MVP, underdog. We both agree on that one. We both agree there. All right, sounds good. We'll revisit that one. Let's talk about this Anthony Smith fight, Josh.
All right, cool. I'm glad we skipped over the other one.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, we are thinking alike tonight, Josh. I tell you, man. We really are.
Man, I was like, because look, I was prepared for you to be like, now let's talk about Macy. I was gonna be like, I don't care about it. That's what I want to talk about.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you. Man, that's why I love doing the show with you, because you know what? I really didn't want to talk about. I got it written down on my card here. I'm thinking about, like, with a question mark, like, does Josh really want to talk about this fight? I don't know.
Like, we do not care about it. I'm sorry. We don't.
Yes. Well, let's jump into it. Anthony Smith versus Roman here. What do you think about this fight here?
All right, so we all know Anthony Smith is coming off a W, off the guillotine choke, but 2 fights before that, he got slept very badly.
Roundtree.
Roundtree. It was a very bad knockout, kind of scary in a little bit. But we're also talking about Roman, who's coming off of 2 losses as well. So, I mean, realistically, this fight is important, but it's not that important as far as the title picture goes. I think Anthony Smith was talking about that, but nah, brother, you still got some work to do. But yet and still, this is a good fight for Anthony Smith to still build up a win streak so then he could take a tougher fight after that. Roman, I think it's kind of like we kind of know what to expect this guy. He doesn't have a great gas tank. It's nothing to trust. And I think Anthony Smith knows that. And the big idea is just to wear him out, man. Make him work. If he works, he will fold. Now, he does have power. You do have to worry about that. Anthony Smith is very hittable. But yet and still, he is a gamey vet, and he knows how to fight. And he knows how to fight certain people. And I think Roman is a guy that he will know how to fight. it's hard for me to, like I said, trust him coming off of 2 L's, even though there was 2 talented fighters that he lost to. But at the same time, it's just, I think that he will gas out even in the 3-round fight. And I think that Anthony Smith will be able to pick those last 2 rounds at the bare minimum to get a decision.
Now, saying that, he's a veteran fighter, of course, Anthony Smith here. Do you think he plays around the first round or just, tries to take him out early, or do you think he tries to take him to that 3rd round, especially coming off 2 losses? But they were arguably, 2 top contenders too. How do you think that plays out, Josh? Do you think he just goes out for the TKO right away? Or does he just, progress it, try to take the 3rd round, wear him out? Because veteran presence goes a long way too, Josh. How do you think that plays out?
Man, when you fight with a guy with power that can knock you out, man, I think it's always good to cover up, be aggressive, and let him bring the fight out. Let him dictate what he wants to do. And I say that loosely as far as letting him. Obviously, you don't want to let him just like fire off on you, but you want him to dictate it because you want him to sit here and bring the fight to you because it's going to wear him out. And bring it, like I said, be aggressive, stay in his face, make him do the movement, make him fight, make him off his back foot, and put him into danger. And then the 2nd and 3rd round, just wear on him, man, with volume. Don't try to be power punchy. Just go out there, wear on him, throw some kicks, some light kicks, throw some punches. And once again, just wear on him, and then you'll pick up a win off points. And I think that's Anthony's best route to victory. Maybe even try to, throw in a little wrestling in there, a little razzle dazzle, throw him off a little bit. But I think that would be his best bet.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I'm glad you said that with the ground game here. You think there's a couple takedown defenses from Anthony Smith's side? I mean, you think he tries to throw him off a little bit? Like, okay, you didn't prepare for this, but I'm going to give you this.
For sure, he'll try. I mean, I feel like you need to. I feel like you need to be a well-rounded mixed martial artist, and I think that's something that Anthony Smith has. Like, he's not elite anywhere, but he's not necessarily terrible anywhere either. And I think he uses that to his benefit.
Agree, 100%. How do you see this playing out? I'm going to go with Anthony Smith here. I think it's going to be a TKO, probably 2nd round.
He should win. I mean, it's a last-minute replacement. Granted, he's a last-minute replacement as well, but he's more prepared than Roman is. I think he'll get a unanimous decision. If he doesn't, then that's a bad night for him, brother. Yeah,
definitely is. I mean, it's been a replacement on both sides here. I think it's, hey, this is a staple call where, hey, you're put on the card here. You do a UFC 303 Connor, McGregor versus Chandler. Your name's on the card. You better show out, on this card here. So I think it's going to probably be a TKO in the 2nd round. If not, it's definitely going to go to a. Do you think it's unanimous or do you think it's split though?
Unanimous.
Unanimous. Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right, so we're both on the same page there. Where do you want to go next, Josh? Because I'm gonna, since we already skipped over probably the boring fight there that I really don't want to care about at all. Probably that's gonna be my bathroom break or my tweet break. So where do you want to go next, Josh?
Oh, got to do the co-main, man. I'm actually really excited about this fight.
Let's talk about it.
So we got Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopez, and this fight is fireworks. Like, this fight will be fun. Like, I'm telling, ladies and gentlemen, you don't want to miss this fight. This fight will be crazy, and someone is getting finished. Like, and the beautiful thing about this fight is that there could be you can see knockouts or submissions, but they're not making it to the round 3. And if it does, I'm already telling you right now, it's going to be fight of the night. I mean, you have Brian Ortega, who's always game, always excited. I mean, always exciting, always down to fight. For a guy who's really a submission guy, still makes it fun on the feet. And then you got Diego Lopez, who's literally fought 3 minutes in 3 fights.
Yeah, I mean, Youssef, Sabian, who was the other one? Was it Tucker? I think it was this other fight that he had.
I have no idea, but I know he was finished quickly.
It's very fast. That's why I can't remember. All I remember is 1, 2, 3, lights out, it's over, raise the hand, got my check, I'm out of here. But exactly. I agree. I think this is the fight, and I really love this fight. I love Ortega here. Submission, TKO. I don't know what's going to happen first, but Josh, if this goes the distance, are you going to be surprised? Because I don't know. I think this is. Josh, this is one of the matches here. I'd say fireworks, or it could be a drag out, stand up, rock'em sock'em type fight to me. What do you see in this stuff?
The only reason why I don't think it will be a rock'em sock'em is just because like Ortega has a legendary chin, but we have to remember that chins expire. It's going to eventually catch up on him. He's 33 now. And he's got so much wear and tear. He's taken some very bad beatings throughout his career. And with a guy like Diego, who's so explosive and who can knock you out, I don't think he will want to do that personally. But it's Ortega. He's Mexican and he fights like one. So
Yeah.
he loves that. He loves that inner warrior in him and wants to bring that out. So I fully expect him to fight like that. I think that it's gonna be a rock. I'm not a rock. I think it's going to be a finish. I don't think it's gonna go past 2.
Okay. You think it's gonna be what do you think we're gonna get? A chokehold, armbar? What do you think of here?
So I'm picking Diego Lopez by TKO stoppage by the second round. Now I'm not super confident in that. The only reason why I'm not going Brian, is the fact that Diego Lopez has never been stopped by submissions. He is a very solid submission artist himself, and he actually has more submissions than he does knockouts. So I'm going to trust his ground game enough. Even though Ortega is called T-Cities and he is dangerous, I don't think that he's going to get the stoppage. I think Diego will.
I'm going to go opposite. I'm going to go Ortega here. I mean, the way he played against Rodriguez his last fight, I think it's very fast, and he's trying to go to get the submission here. But Josh, before I give you my prediction, I want to ask you something real quick. With Ortega here, okay, we know Lopez, the last 3 fights, 3 minutes in and out, total combine time in the Octagon. Do you think Ortega tries to take this to the second to third round? Does that benefit him, of course? Or because when you're a fighter, Josh, the last 3 fights, you've only lasted 3 minutes total, all 3 wins. It's in the mind play, like, man, I'm in the second round here. I haven't finished this guy yet. Oh, man, I'm going to the third round. I haven't finished him yet. Does that play into any kind of category, you think?
When you're Ortega and you're a natural finisher, brother, you don't care about that crap. Real, I just don't think you care. Like, you're Ortega. Now, a lot of his submissions are past the second round. He has a bunch of them. But yet and still, when you're built like Ortega, you don't care. When the opportunity is there, you take it. Full advantage of it. And that's the type of guy Ortega is. So he doesn't think that kind of way. So I don't think if it's in the first round, he will get that stoppage in the first round. That's just how he was born.
Yeah, I think this is going to be the technique fights where you're going to see both guys who are great, technique submission artists here. I think it's going to be a great like you say, who can get that first move. And if you can capitalize on that first move, it could be lights out very fast. But the one word that you said is those Mexican fighters, man. I'll tell you something, Josh. It wasn't last month. It was about 2 months ago. A friend came over before we started doing Inside the Octagon. He came over for the first time watching UFC, and he's like, "Man, I forgot what fight it was, Josh." He was like, I'm taking that guy right there. He's the favorite. He's definitely like a minus 600. I'm taking him. I was like, oh, no. Let me stop you. That Mexican boy right there, you don't mess with those Mexicans, brother. Especially fighting in wherever they were, Sao Paulo or something. He's in hometown. You got the Mexican crowd behind you. You got like a Tasmanian devil. He's going off, and it was a first round finish. He's like, wow. I'm like, those guys are built different, Josh.
Yeah, man. Listen, Mexicans are so tough. Like, they're just tough. And natural fighters, man. Like, this guy is he embraces every bit. Like, he is an American, but he just has that Mexican blood in him, and he fights like it. And you got to pay respects to it.
We see that in boxing as well, Josh. I mean, you don't mess with a Mexican boxer in the ring because they might be the little guy on the totem pole, but let me tell you, the way they fight, it's insane, man. It really is.
And here's the thing too: Diego Lopez is also Mexican, so we having a Mexican showdown, and it's going to be fun. So I'm excited. This is going to be fight of the night. If it's not fight of the night, I will be so surprised.
Yeah, I definitely think this is going to be checkbook worthy. Match the bout of the night here. Card of the night. I think this is definitely going to be it right here. I think this. Let me ask you this, Josh. Is there any way that if God forbid something was, we always talk about it, Josh. I don't say it's done and over with until both fighters are in the octagon and the cage is locked. What if they back out? Would this be main card worthy, Ortega versus Lopez, to you?
Main card worthy for a pay-per-view? Absolutely not. But for a fight night, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. Like a fight night, a Vegas night or something like that. I definitely think that UFC fight night, of course. So I'm going to go opposite with you. I'm going to go Ortega here. I think I'm going to go with the dog here. I think he's a little bit under the dog here. I'm going to take him, but I think it's going to be, man, this is going to be fight of the night either way. I'm not going to lose in any way watching this fight, but I'm going to go Ortega here. Our first disagreement. I'm going to go Ortega, and I think it's going to be a second round submission somewhere. I think he gets Diego. Diego somehow slips, and I think he gets him in a, man, it's going to be hard, but I'm going to say a rear naked chokehold. I really do. Even for his first submission ever, I think Lopez is going to get his first, loss with the submission here. I really do.
Okay, man.
Oh man. All right, Josh, where do you want to go here? Where do you want to go? I think
we only got one more left now.
I know. You ready to talk about this main event here? Alex Pierre versus Jiri Prochazka. How do you see this one? I mean, rematch, Josh. Rematch.
So we got Poatan versus Jiri, man. Like, at the end of the day, we already seen the first fight, and we're getting a part 2 that's a little too soon, realistically. I'd rather wait it personally. But yeah, and still we're getting it, and we do know that this fight is going to be fun. Like, that's one thing we can guarantee. The Jiri comes to fight Alex Bahia, you know what you're getting. I'm excited. I can't wait to see it. I wish it wasn't as soon as it was, and I wish it wasn't last minute. But yet still, hey, I don't want to be too negative about it because it is a good fight, no matter how you slice it. Now, do you want my predictions, or you just want me to?
Let's talk about it first. Let's talk about this fight.
Okay, yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, Jiri is still Jiri, and after that fight with Rakic, with oh my gosh, like we got a
round 2 punch. Yeah, that round 2 punch.
Coming to fight Alex Pereira after that Rakic fight is ridiculous because he took a beating. Granted, he also dished out a beating, but he took a hell of a storm from Rakic. With the leg kicks, with getting punched in the face. It was such an amazing fight. Like, we got to remember, UFC 300 was one of the greatest cards, if not the greatest card ever. That fight really could have been fight of the night. Like, that's how great that daggone fight was. They just got outshined from other fights. But to do that and then fight Alex Pereira, 3 months later? That's a tall task. Tall task, in my opinion.
I agree. I mean, I look at my buddy was talking today. He's not a big UFC fan. He doesn't watch every event. He was just like, "Wait, didn't he fight 3 months ago?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, you got the win." I was like, "But you got to go back and watch that fight, just like you said, Josh." He dished out it, but he took a lot on the receiving end too. I mean, he was lit up in many occasions for that. But he did get the win there. You know, that second round knockout, of course. But Josh, the thing is, I want to ask you, how do you feel about Pierre coming to this fight, Jamal Hill, round 1? 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Are we going to see that same fighter, or are we going to see that guy where he fought Blankovic go into the decision? What are we going to see here? How do you see this? Because Jiri, it only lasted 2 rounds too. You know, in the first matchup. How do you think it's going to progress?
I mean, I think the fight is going to play out very similarly because I think Jiri only knows how to fight one way, and that's his style.
Yeah,
that's what got him there. That's what got him to the dance, and that's how he's going to always fight. And I think Alex Pereira is going to be who he is. He's going to be gunning for that left hook. And if it lands, it's going to end the way it always ends for everybody, which is night. I will say that maybe Jiri's going to try to attack more offensively as far as like grappling goes, just to get him thinking. I don't think that is going to be his game because it will wear him out and Jiri will get tired and he will get knocked out that way as well because he's not great on his feet. Not on his feet. He's not great on the ground. But yet and still, neither is Alex Pereira. But also, Alex has gotten better with his takedown offense.
Yes.
You know, there's going to be a little tricky even doing that. But I do think that Jiri is a warrior and he's going to fight the way that he knows how to fight. And he will have to eat some stuff and hope that he lands his heavy shot before Alex Pereira lands his.
Yeah, the word I want to use about Jiri is he's a wild card. We know what he is. He's just a warrior, you know. I tell you, when I see him, that little, you know, man bun that he has getting in the ring, that scares the hell out of me, Josh, just the way he is, the fighting style he is. The one word that you said, that right hook from Alex Pereira there, if he can avoid that, I think he has a good chance to win this fight. I honestly do. The word that you used, to takedowns, you have to get some takedowns from Jiri here. He has to at least attempt it to keep Pereira off his game, Josh, because Pierre's going to come out and look for that right automatically. It's going to be there. And it's a one-punch knockout for any. I don't care who you are. You feel it. You could be night very quick. How does Jiri? Does he stay away, or what does he do with that right hook? Because you know it's coming.
So it's his left hook. It's the left hook.
Left hook
that catches people. But yet and still, like, is he? I mean, here's the thing. Everybody knows about it already. Like, who don't know about it? Like,
right.
That's the funny thing about it. But it's the same thing as Deontay Wilder. Everybody knew his power shot was coming from one hand. It doesn't matter because the thing is, if you're fighting Jiri, it's either finish him or you have to go 25 minutes and avoid that left hook. And he's a professional kickboxer. He's a world champion kickboxer. You think he don't know how to set it up? You think he don't know how to close the distance? How to find angles to still land his power shot? Clearly he does. He's been practicing this thing for 20 years. Like, this man is tough. Like, it's easier said than done to say, "Oh, I know it's coming. Let me just keep my left hand up." Okay, cool.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. You know, Pierre was a kickboxer before he came to the UFC. You know, ask Izzy about that situation. You know what I mean? I mean, exactly. He goes a long way. I mean, people look at him like, "Oh, the power." Brother, you forgot about the leg kicks. This dude was a universal boxing champion for many years before all this. He's learned the boxing style of this industry. You know, but. Josh, if this does go to the 5 round, who does this benefit more going to 5 rounds here? Because Pierre, I still worry about his gas tank, Josh. I really do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, even in a 5-round fight, I'm still picking Alex Pereira. Like, at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, we've already just established he's a world champion kickboxer, which means he's used to going multiple rounds in kickboxing.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't knock everybody out in his kickboxing bouts. Sometimes he would just beat people off points. And this isn't something that's world class. I mean, well, that's nothing that's groundbreakingly new to him. So if you want to do a point fight, you will still lose to him. He's a tall, lanky, rangy guy that knows how to use it. So good luck either way.
I agree. What do you think the key is for Erie to get this win here and secure the win here?
To mix it up. Mix it up. You got to try to wrestle, try to get him to the ground, beat him up on the ground, wear them arms out, and then also close the distance. Do not fight on the outside. Stay in range. And I know people are going to say that's dangerous, but you got to stay in his face. Stay in his face. And then, like, keep your hands up at all times. That's what Jerry doesn't do. So that's not going to happen, but he should. But yeah, keep your hands up at all times, especially keep your left hand up and protect yourself. It's very accurate, but at the end of the day, man, like, even you got to watch out for knees as well. So, I mean, my thing is just stay aggressive, stay on him, and get him on his back foot. Do not get on your back foot. Don't let him dictate the fight.
Yeah, I think I was watching a couple fights ago, just going back and looking at it. Jerry has that knee as well. I think he's going to try to gain control to close the ring off to Pierre a lot. I think he's going to try to get that control somewhat, not a faraway fight, a close grapple fight, and throw that knee there, because that word I use, wild card. He's a wild card in his fighting style, man. If he's down, my thing is, Josh, I always tell people a wounded animal is the most dangerous animal in the world. And I think Jerry can be that way. If he gets down, he's just going to throw anything, anywhere, anything he can do. And that if that knee connects, but the thing is, like you said, with kickboxing, he's a veteran. He knows how to do this. He can beat you with the legs. He can beat you with the punches. How do you think that Pierre? Do you think he just comes out, Josh, and secures the leg kick first to get him off balance? Because if Yuri doesn't have his legs, it's going to be so much better to connect with that left. Getting that space there. What do you think?
I think when you're just better than somebody, you kind of dictate your own game plan and adjust during the fight. I think whatever presents itself that Jerry presents, then he will take advantage of. Jerry is strong on his lead foot a lot, so I can see him kicking his leg a lot. That's what Rakic did. So I don't see why Pereira wouldn't do anything similar. And just and we already know Izzy, he knocked Izzy's legs out. So I fully am prepared for him to land a bunch of leg kicks to get him off of his feet, or get him off of his lead feet. And then after that, just once again, walk him down and probably get a KO.
You think Pierre is going to attack him and just have the inside ring control here, even as a stand-up? You think he's going to try to close off the ring on Jerry?
I mean, it just depends. I mean, I think that he can counter and he also can be aggressive. I think it just depends on what. Once again, I think that he's just this stand-up guy who just likes to dictate or likes to go with the flow, see what presents itself, and then adjust to it. He's such a game fighter, and he's been doing it forever.
So let's give predictions here. I'm going to go with Pierre as well. You think it's a knockout, Josh? Where are you going with this one?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going Pierre knockout again. I think it's going to be in the first round this time.
Goodness gracious, Josh! First round?
Absolutely. I think Jerry. Here's the thing. I like Jerry, but there's a lot of flaws in Jerry's game, and I think he's just a terrible matchup when it comes to Alex Pereira. Now it's possible he can clip him first and knock him out, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
But I'm not expecting that.
I agree with you. I don't think it's going to be first round. I'm probably going to go second, late second, early third. I just think there's too much on Pierre's side here. I think it's going to be a knockout. Of course, I agree with you 100%. But, this could be one of those fights, Josh. We know, man, one elbow, one knee, one punch, could put lights out. We've seen it many times with these guys. These guys have the power. And the other thing is coming off a fight, just like you said with Rakic 3 months ago, Josh, that has to play in there some kind of way too. Man, I don't know, Josh. But I'm definitely going to go with the win here for Pierre. Second round, third round knockout.
Okay.
Definitely.
I'm with you.
Definitely. Josh, we got about another couple minutes here. How's boxing going, man? Let's talk about that Tank fight, because I know you said Tank, man. What do you think about that? What do you think about it? We're going to plug into the ring now.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, man, Tank is Tank. You got to be perfect for 36 minutes. And if you're not, you're going to get slept. And we saw a perfect example of it. He looked rusty, got caught a few times. He got his cheeks swelled up. But yet and still, like, there's still levels to this. Once again, you got to be perfect for 36 minutes. And it's hard when the guy that's very smart, so explosive. And, I mean, he broke Frank down. Like, Frank got broke down.
He did.
And people was saying, why is he hanging up against the ropes? What is going on? I'm like, bro, Like, it's so easy to say that. His coaches was telling that. You think he didn't know that? The issue was he was done. His feet were in quicksand. Like, when you get punched to the body so often, when that body shot starts to wear on you, the first thing to go is your legs. That's the whole point of attacking the body. He attacked his body, hurt his leg. If you even heard him in his corner, it was like, how does those punches feel? Oh, the punches are fine, except for the body. He was like, them body shots hurt. That was all I needed to know. And then once he got against them ropes, his legs was like, brother, I don't know where you want me to go, but I don't want to go there. I want to sit here. I'm comfortable. And that just led to him being stuck in mud, and Tank took advantage of it. He's very methodical. He's so talented, and I'm ready for him to fight the elite of the elite in his division.
Who's he fight? Loma?
I mean, it has to be. It has to be.
It has to be, right? That's the only correct answer we have.
That is the only fight that I care to see. Nobody wants to see you fight anybody other than Lomachenko. That is the fight. This fight could have been made 2 years ago, but it is the fight right now, and you knock him out. Like, I'm not one of the people that's going to make those excuses that he's old. Yes, he's older. This is not the best version of him, but he's still an elite fighter, and he's still top 3 in that division. So you get full credit for knocking out Lomachenko.
When do you think this happens? Because I don't want to go down the road of Spencer Crawford here, waiting, what should have been, could have been, should have been done. How long do we wait?
The way that this fight is being talked about right now, this fight is happening in December. If it doesn't happen in December, it's happening early next year.
Where does it happen? Do we go down to Loma's brand?
Vegas.
You think so? I don't think so. I think this goes down Loma land down there, the home crowd down there, because
I can guarantee you that would never happen.
You don't think so? You think it's going to be MGM worthy? Vegas, T-Mobile?
Never happen. Leonard Ellerby. Well, Leonard Ellerby is not part of it no more. But if you really think Al Heyman and anybody who's dealing with Tank is letting him go out of the country, you're crazy. That's never happening. Tank is the A side. He's the guy that's going to be calling the shots. And it will be wherever Tank wants it to be, and it will be in Vegas.
Okay, let's just progress this. If it does happen, just like you said in Vegas there, T-Mobile Arena, it happens. Tank gets to win. Rematch right away. Next fight for Tank. What do you think?
No rematch. If he wins, especially if it's dominant, no, he needs to fight Shakur. Fight Shakur, and let's get this ball moving, man. Let's see how great you really are. Let's put you up with the all-time greats. I want to see excellent fights from here on out. He's 30. He's about to be 30.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Last thing I want to talk about really quick. Ryan Garcia. Suspension. 1 year by the New York Athletic Commission Boxing Association. How do you feel about that going into a fight, a PED'd all up? How do you feel about that? Because I knew something was wired. With Garcia, I don't know, Josh. I really don't know if it's mind game, if it's PR, if it's publicity. But he looked a lot different in this fight, Josh. He had to be on something, but it came out he was. How do you feel about the suspension, and where does that fall on his part? I don't want to say legacy, but let's talk about his record and the asterisk mark. What do you think about that?
I mean, at the end of the day, man, he popped, and he also came in overweight. So I mean, we can't excuse it. I personally don't think he needed it. I don't think that personally. I personally don't believe that affected the fight as far as who won. People want to sit here and say, "Oh, it was the All-Star and this, that, and the third." Do we forget that they were 3-3 versus each other in amateurs? Do we also forget that, if you watch those amateur videos, the same hooks that he got hurt with as an adult, he got hurt with as a kid. So I mean, was he on Ostarine then too? I don't personally believe that. That's just my opinion. I think if they fought again, that Haney might do better. But yet and still, even if he wasn't on Ostarine, or if he was, I don't really think any of that had anything to do with the results. Devin just got beat by a guy who's better than him at that moment and at that day. And Ostarine is not going to make your left hook quicker. That's not what that does. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
You didn't keep your hands up. You got caught. That left hook has always been lightning quick. It's always have power. And you got caught with it. You got caught by a power puncher and you got hurt. That's your fault.
Yeah, I respect you for saying that, because I got into arguments with a couple of people. They're like, "Oh, he was wired up, he was doped up." I'm like, "Listen, man, it's not going to make you faster. Listen, hey, you do what you did. I mean, it's not going to tell the other fighter to put your hands up. You got clicked, you got caught. Very simple."
Real quick, it's so annoying because people think steroids is like the Superman drugs. People think that you take steroids and you become Superman. That is not what it does. Okay, that is most steroids. If anything, it just helps with recovery. It helps. I'm not sitting here saying that people should take steroids. Steroids should be legal. He should be. His loss should be. His win should be taken away. He should be fined. He should be suspended. He cheated. That's besides the point. But I'm just more so saying it doesn't help you be better than the guy you're fighting. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say the steroids is why you beat him. No, you have more of a case by saying the weight cut or him not willing to make weight. That had more effect than him taking Ostarine, in my opinion.
Agree, 100%, 100%. Last thing I want to ask you real quick. We went over our predictions here with the main event here. We both have Pierre winning this fight, Alex winning the fight. What's next for him? Do we see Izzy again?
No. I think if Alex Pereira wins again, he needs to go to heavyweight.
You think he does move up? I was telling somebody that today. Yeah.
Dare to be great. I want to see him. He matches up very well at heavyweight versus a lot of guys. Not John Jones. John Jones will kill him. But anybody else other than John Jones, I would love to see him fight.
I agree with that. I think that's a name that if he moves up there, he could pretty much run that division. When you said John Jones, would we ever see him come back?
John, I don't care. I don't care, man. I'm so sick of that him and Stipe fiasco. I don't care, man. That division sucks.
It does. That's what I'm saying. It would be the blessing if he actually went there because that would be a name out there. But he would run that division. But the Stipe, the John Jones, man, I'm over that. I'm really done with it. Heavyweight, you think like, okay, heavyweight's the main event, always the big boys here battling. But to me, that's that pretty much really, Josh. I don't know how you feel. To me, that's the worst division in the UFC.
It's by far. It's not entertaining. It's unwatchable at times. It's very bad.
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah, it's mind blowing where you have these big guys. I tell you what, Josh, have you ever heard anything? I know you're in Indiana. You ever heard of a thing called 24/7 Fighting Championship?
No.
I'm actually going to an event next week. I got credentials to go check them out for the first time. It's like an underrated MMA in Pittsburgh here. I'm gonna go check it out because these guys, man, I've watched some videos of this. These guys, they're fighting for an audition and a contract. So I can't wait to see these guys, man. I really can't wait. So
okay.
So Josh, listen, this weekend 303, of course, we gave our predictions here. We're gonna hop on. Are you free next Monday?
Next Monday, I should be. Message me Monday. We'll talk about that. I mean, not Monday. Message me tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
All right, sounds good. That's why we always say Out of the Box Sports Entertainment here. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter for our upcoming shows. I want to get with Josh and we can recap this 303 here, see whose predictions were right. We only disagreed on one, of course, but I want to see how we played this out. So, Josh, before we get out, I got to read one of our sponsors really quick. Guys, if you're injured out there, please reach out to 1-800-HURT-123, Attorney Jason Fang, Attorney Big Al, motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, personal injury claims, 3 convenient locations throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. First in New Jersey is Cherry Hill, 3 Greensboro Lane. In Pennsylvania is Philadelphia, PA, 1628 JFK Boulevard. And Pittsburgh, my neck of the woods, 500 Grand Street, 32900. Mentioned Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, Jason's family to me. He's actually my boss for 20 years. I actually work for him. I'm one of the live operators, of course, from home. You call them, mention Out of the Box, we take your case. Guaranteed, not 50, not 45, not 40, not 35, 33 and a third % rate. No recovery, no fee. Just mention Out of the Box Sports Entertainment for all your needs. 1-800-HURT-123 for all your legal procedures. Oh, man. I'll tell you what, I think one of these fighters might have to call Jason Fine, but unfortunately it's not in Philadelphia or Jersey this week, Josh. They're not going to have a case there. But, yeah, Josh, I can't wait for 303. What could have been, should have been. We have this here. At least we have 2 fights on the card that I'm really going to talk about. One of the fights we didn't even talk about. We agreed on that one. We left that to the side, Josh. I appreciate that. I thought you were going to talk about it, but I'm glad we didn't talk about
it. Big facts.
Definitely. Good. Josh, any parting words, man?
No, man. Thank you guys for watching. As always, man, make sure you follow me as Papa Showtime, Josh Showtime, whichever one you find me at. And stay blessed as always.
Definitely. Once again, man, congratulations to you and your lovely wife on the blessing that you're about to have. Your beautiful daughter there. It's coming up. I blessed for you, man. I feel it. My kids are older. Man. Definitely. And the craziest thing is it's happened. I think it was the day after Father's Day, correct? Right?
What?
The gender reveal was like the day after Father's Day, wasn't it?
No, it was the week after.
The week after. Okay, there you go. Well, next year, Josh, we're going to do this show, and I'm going to say, Josh, remember last year when your gender reveal? Now you're a father. Really, truly happy Father's Day. So, that's next year, Josh. But of course, everybody, just like Josh said, man, follow Josh, follow myself Out of the Box here. Follow us all. Follow our live shows. Please follow us. But the main thing here is stay blessed, man. Stay blessed. That's the man upstairs controls everything. You live his life. You follow his path. He'll lead you in the right direction. So that's all I'm going to say is stay blessed every day. That's the best thing out there to do.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Definitely. Well, let's get out of here. My name is Paul Spencer. That is Josh Showtime. This is Inside the Octagon. We'll see you next week. Until then, have a great weekend and stay blessed.
Deuces.